Good morning, STEM 1. I am Sir Live and I would like to discuss to you about solving logarithmic equation and inequalities. Actually, last meeting tapos na natin ito and the reason why I'm going to discuss to you this asynchronously because I have my training today for 2 days until tomorrow. So that means I will be giving you this video and I hope that you will learn a lot with this. So we also learn also that the property of logarithmic equations. We have four techniques. The first one is we rewrite the given exponential to exponential form, or we rewrite the exponential to logarithmic form, or using the logarithmic properties for us to solve the given value of the logarithmic equation. Similarly, we have also the one-to-one property that is mag-multiply tayo ng log or mag-divide tayo ng log both sides with the same basis. Or we can factor the given value. So for example, we have given factor, then we can equate to 0, and then we can solve for the value of x. So we are done with log of this one. So 5 to the 4th equals x, because this one is the base, and this one is the exponent, and this is the result. So the value of the logarithm is the exponent. So in here, we have an example. At least natapos tayo with this example E. So in the example F, D, I mean. So in here, we can write 6x equals 24 and therefore x equals 4. And in letter E, for ln of 2x equals 12, we know that 4 here is the numerical coefficient, and this could be an exponent. So therefore, we can divide this one by 3, 4. That means we divide it by 4, and therefore we have ln of 2x equals to 3. Then we know that ln or natural logarithm is equivalent to log of base e. That means this is log of base e of 2x equals 3. Then therefore 2x equals e cubed. And dividing by 2, you got x equals e cubed over 2. When e is equals to 2.71828 and so on, we have to cube that one, then divide it by 2. We've got 10.04 using our calculator. In letter F, there are many ways how to solve. One way of solving this one is we have 2x is equals to 9, and 2 to the x, I mean. Then we multiplied log of 2 both sides. Then we've got log of 2x base 2, which is equals to log of 9 base 2. And we know that log of 2 ang ginagamit natin. It's because the base of x is 2. That's why 2. Kung 4 yan siya, then we have to use log of 4. Both sides. Then we have log of 2 base 2. Of course, this is 1, and therefore this one can be the numerical coefficient, and that becomes x is equals to log of 9 base 2. And therefore, we know that log of a base x can be written as log of a over log of x, log of a over log of x. For any basis, pwede tayo magamit ng 10, pwede din tayo magamit ng other value which is positive, of course. We have log of 9 over log of 2. That is the meaning. So, pwede na ito maging numerator with the log, and this one is the denominator with the log also. So, log of 9 divide log of 2 using calculator is 3.17. So, I think we're done with this logarithmic equation. Ang isipin nyo lang, there are 4 possible solutions or possible ways on how to solve the given equation. Now we proceed to property of logarithmic inequalities. So we know that in the exponential inequality, alam natin na ang b, kung greater than 0 siya, tapos less than 1, like this one, example, 2 to the power of, or 1/2 raised to the power of x. So it means 1/2 is less than 1, and therefore, yung ating expression can be written as 2 to the negative 1 raised to the power of x. So it means kung magiging whole number or magiging more than 1 ang ating base, the exponent becomes negative. And when we have negative, it changes the direction of the inequality. And therefore, if this is less than, then it is greater than when we multiply log base b, where b is less than 1 but greater than 0, of course. We call this one as a decay in the exponential, and of course, this is decreasing. And for b is greater than 1, kung ano ang kanyang direction ng inequality, yun lang, kinokopya lang. So, we multiplied log of base b, we use the same direction. So, we know that this is a growth and this is increasing in trend. Okay. So, say for example, we have example 7. Solve each inequality, logarithmic inequality. We know that 4 here is greater than 1, and therefore this is a growth, or we can say that this one does not change the inequality or the direction of inequality, and therefore we say that x is greater than, we know this is the base and this is the exponent, so x is greater than or equal to 4 cubed, and therefore we have x is greater than or equal to 64. We should note that x here must be greater than 0 because according to here, in our logarithm, the domain must be greater than 0. We know that. So therefore, when this one is here, x, kasi wala tayong value ng log of 0. Wala din tayong value ng log of negative 1. X here must be greater than 0 to be defined. Okay? So that's why we always write x is greater than 0. And after that, we have, since ang 3 natin ay mas malaki yan siya sa positive 1. So, since malaki yan siya sa positive 1, and therefore, this one does not change the direction of the inequality. So therefore, we have x is less than or equal to 3 to the 5th, which is equal to 243. And we know that x is less than or equal to 243. This means na kung ito yung ating number line, this is 243, and this is shaded and then goes to the left to pass to negative infinity. But we know that x must be greater than 0, so therefore 0 must be here, and therefore this is not included, and this is greater than 0. So therefore, if we are going to find the solution set of this logarithmic inequality, we've got 0 here as the minimum but not included. Of course, we have 243, which is included. Okay? So that's why we have 0 is less than x less than or equal to 243, or we have this interval. In example letter C, say for example, log of x plus 1 base 3 is less than or equal to 2. So alam natin na ito dapat greater than 1 siya. So ito yung case number 1. So x plus 1 must be greater than 0, and therefore x is greater than negative 1. So that's it. And then we know that 3 here is greater than 1, and therefore it does not change the direction of the inequality, and therefore we've got x plus 1 is less than or equal to 3 squared, because 3 here is the base, and therefore x plus 1 is less than or equal to 9, and x is less than or equal to 9 minus 1, and therefore x is less than or equal to 8. So this is our solution. And looking at this one, that x is less than or equal to 8, and x is greater than negative 1, so kung i-graph natin yan siya into the number line, this is positive 8, then we shade this one and goes to the left because that is less than, the arrow goes to the left. And this one is negative 1 that is excluded goes to the right. So it means our common, we call this one the intersection of the two inequalities, or the common, or makikita natin kung dalawang beses siyang nag-intersect or nadaanan ng lines. So therefore, we have our solution set that is from negative 1 pero hindi kasali to positive 8 pero kasali ang atong 8. Okay? So therefore, we have this interval notation negative 1, 8. Okay? If you have a question, kindly post on our chat, and then I will answer as the time gives me. Okay, then we have letter D, log of 2x plus 1 base 6 is less than log of x plus 4 base 6. So alam natin na ang ating 6 ay greater than 1, so it means that our solution for 2x plus 1 is less than x plus 4 is that it doesn't change the direction of the inequality, so less than pa rin. So our first case, of course, this one, because the domain of this must be greater than 0, and therefore write 2x plus 1 is greater than 0, and x is greater than negative 1 half. Check tayo dyan. X plus 4, ito na naman, must be greater than 0 because that is the requirement of our domain. Therefore, x is greater than negative 4. And also, in solving this one, 2x plus 1 is less than x plus 4, we've got x is less than 4 minus 1, and therefore x is less than 3. So we will collect this 3. So it means kung ito yung ating ang pinakamaliit ay negative 4, we have here negative 1 half, and we have here positive 3. So we order this one from least to greatest, and therefore negative 4 here, ang sabi niya, ang x must be malaki sa negative 4. So papalitan natin siya ng ano. So kung x is greater than negative 4, it means hindi kasali ang negative 4, and then it moves to the right to positive infinity. Okay? That is the red. Now we will look at this one. Sabi naman niya, x is greater than negative 1/2. So hindi kasali ang 1/2, pero it goes to the right to positive infinity. Then we use the black or say blue or say we have this. So sabi naman dito is x must be less than 3. So therefore, the 3 here is not included and it goes to the left, to the negative infinity. So where is the common? So makikita natin yung common is here, and that is from negative 1/2, kasi siya ang may complete colors. May yellow, may red, may blue, at saka may violet. So therefore, we have here, hindi kasali ang negative 1/2, then papunta sa 3, hindi rin kasali. So that means this is our solution set, that x here must be in this set. X is an element of this set, negative 1/2 to positive 3. So that is the solution for letter D. Okay, so that's the solution here. And now let's proceed to the application of logarithms to real life context. So there are 3 applications of the logarithmic application in the real life context. The first one is the Richter scale. This is in the name of Charles Richter that proposed a model for logarithm or logarithmic scale that will model the magnitude of the earthquake as a function of its amplitude. So alam natin na maraming pamamaraan paano maglindol. It could be shaking, kung kanang ang linog kanang mura ka ginaduyan, that is horizontally, or it could be mura ka ginatugpo sa taas, that is horizontal. So in that case, the shaking of the ground, it's because of the earthquake, will give the shaking of the seismograph. Of course, the seismograph, the needle will, of course, that is the more energy, it means the higher the amplitude of this wavelength. And the following formula produces the same result. This is the result of finding the magnitude. And this is the formula. We say that R is the Richter scale in terms of a magnitude. We have 2 kinds of measuring the earthquake. We have the intensity, that which is the result, yung kanyang impact. It could be na sira lahat ng bahay. And we have magnitude, that is in terms of the shaking of the ground, that is based on the reference earthquake. When we say reference earthquake, this is the least or the shortest or the smallest energy released by an earthquake. So that is referred to 10 raised to the power of 4.40 joules in energy. Okay, so the magnitude R is referred as R is equals 2/3 log of E over 10 raised to the power of 4.40. So alam natin na ito ay division, so pwede natin siyang i-subtract with logs, or it could be i-subtract natin siya, i-simplify muna natin sa loob before natin siya i-simplify using the logarithmic function or logarithmic properties. So let's have an example. Suppose that an earthquake released approximately 10 to the power of 12 joules of energy. The question number 1 is, what is its magnitude on a Richter scale? So we know that R here is 2/3. So alam natin ang E natin is an energy that is in terms of joules, and that is equal to 2/3 log of, ang E natin dito ay 10 to the power of 12 divided by 10 to the power of 4.40. Okay? So what will happen, of course, and when we simplify this one, this is equivalent to 2/3 log of, we subtract, of course, by loss of exponent. That is 12 minus 4.4, that is 7.6. So log of 10 raised to the power of 7.6. So wala tayong base. This is a common logarithm, and therefore the base is 10. So it means, so we know that this is 1, yeah, and this one is the exponent, can be multiplied because the exponent is the numerical coefficient of the logarithm. And therefore, that is equal to 2/3 times 7/6. ay 7.6 times 1. So that means our R is equivalent to 2/3 times 7.6, which is equivalent to 5.1. So it means that is a 5.1 magnitude earthquake. Okay. So the question number 2 is how much more energy does this earthquake release than the reference earthquake? So how much more? It means we are referring to comparing the given energy or the difference between the 10 to the power of 4.40 to 10 to the power of 12. We know that the difference, or we know that this is 10 to the 7 over 6, I 10 to the 7.6, and therefore the energy is 10 to the power of 7.6 more times than the reference earthquake. So it means that the earthquake releases 10 to the power of 7.6, which is equivalently to 39,810,717 times more energy than the reference earthquake. So that is how to write. Or we write 10 to the power of 7.6. Any question? If you have a question, kindly chat and I will answer if my time permits. Now, the another example, application of the logarithmic equation is application in real life is the sound intensity. So sound can be measured in terms of decibel. That is the level of a sound, which is modeled by this equation, that is D is equals to 10 times log of I. This is I actually, where I is the intensity, which is watts per meter squared, over 10 to the power of negative 12. So this is the baseline. The denominator is always the baseline, no? Kanina in an earthquake, the baseline, which is the smallest earthquake, that is ano siya, ma-measure, that is 10 to the power of 4.4. In this one, the least or the smallest or the least audible sound of a human can hear is 10 to the negative 12 watts per square meter. So this is the baseline. Okay. So the question is, what is the corresponding sound intensity of a sound in a quiet office? That is 10 to the negative 6 watts per square meter. So this is the sound intensity. So that is letter I. So with that, we can convert this one into what is the measure in decibel. That is 10 times log of, ang I natin is 10 to the negative 6 over, which is the constant, 10 to the negative 12. Of course, we don't have any base, and that means the base 10. And we have to simplify this one, or we can use the other way, but I preferred to use the simplify first. Then that is log of, we subtract, and that is 10 to the power of negative 6 minus negative 12. So alam natin na ang negative na dalawang magkasunod ay becomes plus. So that becomes negative 6 plus 12, and therefore this is equivalent to 10 times log of 10 to the power of 6. We know that the base here is 10 because there is no base. It means that is a common. So we know that this is 1, and this is the numerical coefficient because this is the exponent. And that is 10 times 6. And therefore, we've got 60 decibels. No? So it means the 10 to the power of negative 6 watts per square meter is converted into 60 decibels. Okay? So the question is, how much this is more than, so how much more intense is the sound than the least audible sound a human can hear? So we use the baseline, which is 10 to the power of negative 12, and therefore we have 10 to the negative 6 over 10 to the negative 12. That is 10 to the power of 6, or 1 million times more intense than the least audible sound a human can hear. So if the least is 10 to the negative 12, 1 million times of that, that is the sound intensity in decibels of a quiet office. Quiet pa yun ha, what if more kung noise na talaga siya. The second is the pH or the acidity. So the acidity and the pH scale. The pH level of a water-based solution is defined as pH that is negative log of H+, where H+ is the concentration of hydrogen ions in moles per liter. So we have to note that is in moles per liter. So it means dapat isang litro lang. Kung 2 litro, that means we have to convert that in per liter. Solutions with a pH of 7, so kung ang pH natin is equivalent to 7, that is defined as neutral. Okay? Pag less than 7, that means that is acidic. And if that is greater than 7, that is basic. So, let's have an example. Tandaan natin, the formula is simply lang negative of log of H+, where H+ is the concentration of hydrogen ions. 1 liter, so automatic sabi siyang 1 liter, that is per liter. Sa automatic, wala tayong problema. Solution contains 0.1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is equivalent to 1 times 10 or 10 to the power of negative 5. So the equivalent of this is 10 to the negative 5, moles of hydrogen ions. Determine the pH level. If this one is point or 10 to the negative 5 moles of hydrogen ion, this is equivalent to H+. So it means in the pH, we write negative of log of 10 to the negative 5. Yeah, very simple. So we know that this one is 10, and therefore, we can write this one as the numerical coefficient, and this one is equal to 1, and that is negative of negative 5 times positive 1, and therefore, the answer is positive 5. So that's why the pH level is 5. And therefore, this solution is considered acidic. Why? Because this is less than 5. Okay? Less than 7, I mean. So, what's more? So, this is your activity. This is page 19. I already gave you this module. You have to answer this one. And I will give you your assignment. Of course, the deadline will be on Friday, 5 p.m. Okay. And I hope masagutan niyo to. Activity 1 until activity 5. Okay. Okay, activity 5. I know may sagot ito sa last part because we provided this one, an answer key as an assessment. But you need to do is you have to present your solution. Please present your solution. And if time permits, I can give you your quiz. So, announcement pala, our quiz next week is, or summative, is from week 6 to week 8. This is in a form of a quiz is, and I hope you are familiar with quizis.com. This is a game actually. Pero ano siya, the more na mas master mo ang isang concept, the more na mas madali mong masagutan ang question. It's because, this is fun but you are learning. And I hope you will do this one and we'll have this next week. So thank you so much for listening and I hope you can make your activity. Thank you so much and stay safe and happy weekend. Bye class.